Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new edition of Cosmic Insight. I'm your co-creator, Hillis Pugh, along with.
Rebecka, Gregory here. Welcome everyone for joining us for this episode of Cosmic Insight. And today we're kind of going, I guess, a little off track than we normally do in a way, in talking about a beautiful product that Hillis and the story of this product that Hillis has come across. So we thought we'd share it with everyone and allow everyone to learn a little bit about it. So Hillis, can you tell us who our guest is today and
Awesome.
what the
And
story
so,
is found?
awesome, I'm super excited for today because it's not just about this product, it's about the story of the product. It's about the many lives it has changed. And so today we have Miss Danielle Matthews here with us. And she is just an amazing, inspiring soul. And so Danielle is an aspiring young woman who was hit by a drunk driver 9 years ago and sustained a brain injury that classified it as a TBI, which is a mild brain injury. And this injury pulled her from her life. She lost her job with little answers from the medical community, to give her what she really needed to have some semblance of normalcy. And after finding this technology, because that's what this is a cellular repair technology that helped to heal her. And now she shares her story and this product with the people around the world. She has built an international business and touched thousands of lives in the process. She feels that this has happened for a reason, and so she would be in a position to inspire others to reach their inner potential and create whatever life they desire. I so love that. Danielle Matthews, my dear, welcome to the show. Welcome to Cosmic Insight today.
Oh,
Thank you. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, and so what I really appreciate about you and this story is because, you know, when I first actually saw the video of your story, and I'm like, this is real interesting, and how, something so simple
Mm-hmm.
can be so dramatic and change one's life drastically. So can you tell us a little bit more about how, your life and more so about how this product also changed what you do in your life and your world now?
Yeah, I'm happy to. So I have to take you guys back. It's crazy because we're coming on 10 years in June. My world changed, and I think many people go through different challenges in their life, and I would say this challenge certainly awakened me. But it all started with a car accident. I got hit by a drunk driver, and I I left the scene of the accident. I thought I was okay, but in the weeks and months to come, it was very clear that I wasn't. I couldn't concentrate for more than 10 minutes. I had severe migraines. Any sort of input, light, noise, it was just all just too much for me. My senses couldn't take it. And so I lost my job because at the time I was teaching and I couldn't handle it. I couldn't remember my kids' names. I couldn't remember the words I had just said. I'd write a to-do list and then I'd look next to it and I had the same to-do list already written. My brain just wasn't with me. And so I ended up moving back in with my family and just focusing full time on trying to get myself well. And it was really challenging, to go through that. It felt like the world that I had known was lost, and I couldn't quite figure out what my new normal could be or would be. And what's amazing is that I found out what was really real and what was really important. I'll say that.
Mhm.
But as far as my recovery and this technology, what happened was my doctors, after a year, said to me that with this type of injury, my body had done the healing it would do. And at the age of 24, they told me it was just my new normal. And they said, look, Danielle, like shape your life just around these symptoms and you need to move on. And I thought, you're fired. like, there's no way. There's just no way this can be my world. And so we kept searching. And interestingly, the answer came in this beautiful blue bottle that's sitting behind me. But it came through an acupuncturist. And she said to my mom, she said, look, this stuff is a breakthrough. It's stimulating cellular repair. And she said, all of my clients are having incredible results with it. And it's doing something different for each of them. And she said, I have every reason to think, it could pass the blood-brain barrier and it could help Danielle. And so my mom is very intuitive. She just said, this is the answer, that we've been looking for. She brought it home. And unfortunately, she met a wall from me because my degree's in biology, and I thought I knew everything there was to know. And this technology she was showing me was made from saline. And honestly, Hillis, I laughed at her and I said, look, what? Like you said, there's simplicity to this. And it was lost on me at the beginning because I said, what can you do with salt and water? Right. And I refused to drink this stuff for actually 6 months. But eventually they got through to me and they said, look, Danielle, you have everything to gain here and nothing to lose. This is completely safe. And why don't you just give it a try? And so I thought, well, there's logic in that. And I did. And 3 months into using this liquid that you take, you swish it in your mouth, you swallow it. Very simple. 3 months into doing that, all of a sudden that pounding that had been relentless and in my head for 2 years, it vanished. And I started to be able to concentrate again. I had energy. It used to be, 2 hours of doing something and I'd have to nap. I wasn't having to take naps. And my cognitive therapist, she said, look, I've dealt with people with this type of injury for 30 years. And she said, I've never witnessed somebody have such a rapid, recovery so far out from that initial trauma point. And she's the one that said to me, what is that stuff you started drinking, Danielle? And that launched me on a journey of being very curious and learning.
So thank you so much for sharing your story.
Yeah, it's a beautiful story. And I just taking everything in, and I kind of was looking at it a lot of different angles of just the scientific part of the product, and then your story itself, and also kind of what's going on in life right now, and how like you actually journeyed through what like society and humanity's going through right now is what I was kind of going. That's where I kind of went with it in your story, and but how beautiful to share, of the resistance that we can sometimes have in life that opens us up to what we truly desire, and to let those barriers down, and this beautiful experience you had in finding yourself through this, this product, or what did you call it?
Technology product, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
Product stuck in my head, so.
Well, I love what you just said, because for me, like, I laughed when COVID started and, this pandemic, whatever, shutdown happened. Everyone was forced inside. And I made a joke to my sister, and I was like, man, like, everyone is literally going through what I went through. Because with my TBI, like, I had to be in a dark room by myself. I couldn't be around people because it was overstimulating.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't have the option, right? And it was what we all got forced into. And I was laughing because I said, man, who would have ever thought that I would be saying, thank goodness I have the experience of having had a brain injury.
Weird.
I was like, oh, at least I feel good and I'm stuck inside. Like, this is great.
Yeah. And so, what's real interesting, because, moments ago you talked about how this particular product affects everyone differently. And, me being in it for a couple of days, utilizing it, I'm already, feeling some, subtle changes, especially doing energy work, being sensitive. I feel like, okay, this is happening. There's a bit more of awareness. Yeah. And so with it assisting people on different levels in different areas, would you say that this is more of a passive technology, passive repair, where once you receive it, it just kind of knows what to do. It has its own intelligence. So
that's exactly how I would put it. Yeah. So when you take it and you swish it in your mouth and you swallow, it gets absorbed into your body and it just goes to work. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to do anything except let it kind of work its magic. It has an intelligence to know where in your body there is damage, where in this being of ours is needing repair, is needing a little bit of a boost. And our beings are incredible at knowing, what is needed if we just let them to it. They kind of intuitively know what to do. And this adds in a component that we had a lot of when we were young. And so what's interesting is that there's no way to get more of these. They're called redox molecules. There's no way to get more of them. You can't get it from exercise. You can't get it from food. It's something that is innately made in every cell of our body. And just with age, our mitochondria get less efficient. And so we have inefficiencies there that result in less of these signaling molecules being made. And so we kind of all feel it over time. We don't repair as fast. We have trouble with, mental clarity, with sleep, whatever it might be in your body. And what's very interesting is that when you drink this, it's identical to what the body's making. So you can't be allergic. It's non-toxic, completely safe to bring in, won't contraindicate with anything else that you're doing because there's already redox in your system. It just comes in and it goes to work where you need it. And it's fascinating with the liquid because it goes where it's needed, but they've also created a topical version. And the topical is really nice because you tell it where to go. So let's say you've got maybe some chronic stiffness, in your neck. Put the topical on your neck. And what we find is that within minutes, it's relieving inflammation in the area. You're getting more blood flow in that area. So you're feeling a difference, like literally within 10 minutes. And so it's nice with the topical because I always tell people, look, that stuff will let you know that this works because you will feel and experience the difference very quickly. And then you just think about the liquid doing that internally in all the spaces that, I don't feel my spleen, right? I don't feel my digestive system in those ways. But I know when I take this, it's keeping all of that in balance.
Beautiful.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Rebecka.
Oh, no, I thought you had a question.
Oh, no. Well, so, and actually, and this is more of an awareness. So yesterday, living in Florida, you can't help but be around mosquitoes or any type of bugs whatsoever. And so I was outside and I got bit twice. And just out of curiosity, I put a little bit of a topical on one of the bug bites. It was gone almost instant. The other one I just left and it was still a little bit inflamed. This one, I'm like, what the heck? And so this is just, one of the small testaments to really understanding how the product works with the body, because that's what it is. It's more like a synergistic relationship in the signaling information, the communication with the body, and you tell it, or the body is saying, hey, I need this, hey, I need this, hey, I need this, like the alarm consistently going off. And you consistently, for me, because I'm typically a health nut, if you will. So I'm vegan, plant-based diet, have my sugar addiction to all my chocolate, but what are you gonna do? And so you constantly getting all this information to where your body's asking for something. And so we go reach for the food or the vitamins or go get exercise or what have you, but it's still not satiating that desire. So in a way, does this kind of help satiate any of the desires, from the signaling that the body is giving off?
Yeah, there's a lot of layers to this. So I talked about, the alert call piece of it. But one of the other things it does is it's the signaling within your cells. So we have different genes that at different concentrations of redox, they get signaled on. And unfortunately, just with our world, from environmental, stressors, toxins, our genes can get turned off. And redox is what actually keeps them active. So when you drink the ASEA, it's coming in and it's switching the flips back on, right? It's like the light switch is going back on. And one of the studies that they actually did with these molecules that looked at this genetic expression. And on the back of your bottle, Hillis, I don't know if you've read it, but it actually lists out the genes that it was looking at. One of them was the one that controls the inflammatory response. So what you experienced, right, with that bite, when you get it on there, well, it's kicking in what our body innately has programmed to help counteract inflammation. It's also turning on the gene that helps with the immune system and that initial immune response. So that piece of the body, the innate immune system, is the one that goes after viruses, attacks things that shouldn't be in our system. That gets switched on. So think about the ramifications of that and just what that can mean for your being to stay healthy and well and have its initial defense system heightened. The other ones, it's cardiovascular health, digestive enzyme production, and then hormone modulation. So that can touch so much. The hormone signaling gene, I believe it was EGR1 that they researched that switched on. Well, it's in charge of a lot of different pathways, one of them being insulin signaling, one of them being the NRF2 pathway, which helps with antioxidant production, one of them being the circadian rhythm, one being infertility genes. So there's so much that this gets turned back on in the body. And as far as, what you were asking about, like, reaching for different foods to eat, and everyone has such a different experience that, yes, for some, I've heard that, look, they're not having the cravings they used to have, because it's as if the body is uptaking what's needed from the food that they're eating. And so they're not still reaching for more because they're being satisfied now with what they're getting, because the body's now actually uptaking what it is that they're putting in. And so that's an experience some have had. Others, it's been with the heart. Some, it's been with the lungs, right? It depends on where that system is weak and what that being needs.
Beautiful.
So
Thank
what
you
you're
so
saying, what
much.
I'm hearing is basically the technology goes in when you take the liquid, and it basically goes and basically brings us back alive where our cells are kind of dead, and
Yeah.
just wakens us up again. So just
Yeah, it breathes life into it. And
yeah.
I mean, energetically speaking, so it's been such a fun journey, guys. Like on
Mhm.
my 8 years with this, I have met the most incredible people, different types of healers that are drawn in to work with this because
Yes.
of the difference that it can bring. It's the component that we haven't had, right? Because it's not nutrition, it's not the CBD, it's not an essential oil, it's not all these things I think we're used to modality wise having. And so for that reason, it's attracted a lot of people. And there's a quantum healer that I work with over in Australia. And she was fascinating because she said to me, Danielle, when I took this, like it shifted my body
Hmm.
cells from a carbon state to a crystalline state.
Yeah.
And she said it's working, from the physical body into the vital energy body. And it's bringing a shift, helping activate the pineal gland. And I just thought, wow, from her conscious level of awareness of what this is doing, it was just fabulous to hear that. I've been kind of in the science world,
Hmm.
and we're on that space, but there's so many layers to this.
Yeah, I really like you sharing that story about your friend in Australia, because Rebecca and I are both in that space,
Mhm.
and so I that part hasn't quite kicked in yet, that self-awareness, but I mean I can feel it working in the physical space now, and as we move into that energetic realm, of course, I mean it can't help but to go up from there. But in my initial research of this, one of the things that I found is that the foundation, the purpose, the reason that this product was created was to help the immune system, to help people with autoimmune diseases or any lack in their immune functions. So, can you tell us a little bit more about the history and how it's founded in that?
The history of this is it's fascinating. I could talk for a while on that. And Hillis, I loved you reached out with a question, and I said, wow, you do really solid research because in my in all my years with this, actually no one has asked me the question you asked me. I usually tell them.
Mhm.
So this all started actually with a biotech company, and they accidentally stabilized these redox molecules. And now I say it like that because I don't believe in accidents. I think
Yeah,
obviously everything happens for a reason and
yeah,
is guided in that way. But they ended up with these stable reductants and oxidants, and they started taking it down, the approval with the FDA for certain drug applications. And they ran out of funds. And so that's where a lot of the safety studies came from. But a gentleman on their board knew the potential of what they had. And so he put a team of investors together, he bought it, and he got it so that the molecules were stable longer. And then they repackaged it and we're going to sell it to a pharmaceutical company. That was actually how this all really began. And interestingly enough, they got down in negotiations with this pharma company, and it became very clear that the pharma company was going to have them shut down their operation as soon as they made the deal. And we're just blessed with the integrity of this gentleman. His name was Vertus Norton. And he said, I'm morally, I can't do that. This is something that humanity deserves to have. And he walked away. And That's where ASEA was born from. It was another year of trying to figure out, how do you get something like this to market with a term redox that nobody knows, right? It doesn't make sense to anyone. And if you look at the bottle, it looks like it's made from saline. So what do you do with something like that? And that's why they landed, with word of mouth and how it's getting out there. But what they have seen with this since day one, Hillis, quite frankly, one of the reasons they have not gone down and said, look, we're going to research just autoimmune and what this can do for autoimmune, is because that's only one key on the piano. And redox plays every key because it helps every person where they need it. Because there's no redox specific to, the immune system versus the heart versus whatever. Every cell speaks the same language with these molecules. And so that's why you're not going to see research on that specific issue, but you're going to see like structure function studies. You're going to see how it can touch all of these pieces of the body. So I don't know if that answered the exact question you asked, but that's history.
It did. And so, with understanding that, it will bring more wisdom to those who are watching, to the audience, because that's what it's about. Because it's not just about, people coming to Rebecka and I for us to do energy work and to help them on that path, to work with the cells in the body. But sometimes you also need that physical component. And I feel that this is a physical component that will pair well with what Rebecka and I do, to be of service to our clients, to be of service to humanity in a greater role and a greater function.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think when you can get your physical being well, I think you open up a lot more energetically too, because everything can start to flow better, and you have more strength in order to like reach different levels. So yeah, I think it's a very synergistic work.
Yeah.
I think it's beautiful too, that this technology is opening, as Hillis is saying, people have to find ways to heal from so many different levels.
Yeah.
We're so just taught we have to go to the doctor and do whatever they do. We won't even get into that, but but in saying that, these are beautiful things out there that people need to be aware of. So I love the story. Thank you for sharing that story of where it stemmed from, because that's the energy behind it. It's like, I'm not going to be stopped. I'm going to open up and help, because I'm supposed to be out here. So that's kind of, I got what the message was. It is supposed to be here on this planet to emerge in, and as part of the keys of helping all of us as we move forward and opening up at those levels of healing. Everybody has to look at so many different levels, but we sometimes just get stuck in like one thing, but it's not about that. I always look at healing, to me, as looking from way out here on the energetic all the way into the physical, because that's where it all begins, is out the emotional state into the physical. So this is healing. Yeah. Working together.
Yeah. You have such incredible insight, Rebecka. You get right to the heart of the essence of what's said and shared. I think it's beautiful.
That's my little gift.
Yeah,
because I can't remember words and techno stuff, so I just get down to the gist of it.
Yeah, I think, to me, like, the heart of where this comes from speaks everything. What you said, like that, it resonated so profoundly with me, because when I started to get healthy, and I just thought, what is it that I want to do with my life? And when I learned where this came from, what it was that helped me, obviously caught my attention, right? But when I learned where it came from and their mission and what they wanted to do to help humanity, I just went, wow, that's something I can align with. What an exciting thing to wake up and be a part of every day. And I tell people all the time, it's like, I get paid in goosebumps. I have watched this touch lives in such massive ways. I mean, kids that aren't able to function, can't communicate, can't operate in this world. And, I meet their parents and we start them on this technology, and boom, like, they've got a connection with this child now. They're able to communicate with this child now. And it's like, that family's life has changed in such a profound way. It's such a gift. And I feel blessed, truly, and honored to be a part of it and be able to just, be the conduit through which it gets out and the word can be spread about it.
That's beautiful. I really honor that, because, there's a lot of products right now that are stemming from different sources and different places and spaces. And it's the heart, the integrity of any product that is leading behind it that people can get behind.
Yeah.
But what I really appreciate is how this one product can change many lives, whether if it's a child with autism, whether if it's a person with Parkinson's or a person with MS or a person with a traumatic brain injury or something in their spinal column, whatever this is, this cellular technology, this product is one that can magnify who you are for you to really step into that space. So before I get into my other question, I wanted to ask you, do you have any short stories that you can share about people who have, whether if it's, MS, autism, or anything like that? Any stories that stand out to you?
Yeah, it's interesting, like, because of the way that regulatory agencies are, and we're not a drug, we can't make any claim. So I can't sit here and say, oh my gosh, for MS, it can do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
But what we can talk about is, okay, I had the beautiful chance to interview one of the researchers that helped to stabilize the molecules in that window before they brought it to try and sell it. And he got it stable longer. And I asked him, I said, kind of a similar question that you just asked me, Hillis. I said, what about, this, and this? What do you see? And he kind of sat back and he said, Danielle, is there a cell involved? And I went, huh. Yeah. And we're just trillions of cells, right? And so whether the dysfunction, is causing lesions in the brain, and that's what's off, whether the dysfunction is causing, the nervous system to cause shakes, whether it's a dysfunction in the system that's causing, strenuous breathing, whatever it is, it's a cell. It's not doing its job. Something is off. It's damaged. It's become mutated. It's not replicating the way it should be, whatever it is. And so when you add redox to the system, it's going to go, as we've talked about, intuitively know where to go to that area and repair it. So it's amazing what I've done with, like, wow. And it's because it's non-specific. I tell people, I don't care the name of your disease or illness, because this isn't designed to treat it. What this is designed to do, right? What this does is it goes in your body and it empowers your body to find damage, repair it, and allow your body to get back into its balance. And that's really the essence of what it's doing. And there's so many testimonials, Hillis. So, we can always guide people to go look and find others that have similar issues to them, because that's the one thing when people say, well, what the question is behind it is, has anyone with this issue seen success? How long did it take? What did they see?
Yeah.
Right? That's really what's being asked.
Yes.
And so I always point people and I say, look, you can go to, these websites, these different groups, and search in the symptoms that you're having, and you will find a ton of people. Like, I shared my story with my brain on one of these sites, and I can't tell you how many people from around the world have reached out and said, wow, I had something similar happen. So how much, redox, how long did it take? What was your personal experience? Because we have similar damage. And so it's a great conversation to be able to have. And that's why I love, social media is a blessing in that way. And that it can connect us with so many people that are, having similar issues, wondering similar things. And that's something that I would encourage everybody to, plug in and explore these testimonials, because they're powerful. I mean, your jaw will just go, like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, I know mine did for sure.
Like, this one thing is doing all of that? Like, what? But, and that's, unfortunately, it's where some people say, well, it's too good to be true. And I'm like, no, if you really come down, it's the simplicity of it is what's so beautiful about it. It's working foundationally. And if you can help your cells, well, of course, that'll trickle up to the tissue, the organ, the system of the body that it needs to.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
How long has I've been on the market, or how long have they been out? Has it been out in the world?
They said no to that buyout, I believe, in 2007 or 2008.
Okay.
And so they had like a soft launch in 2009. I think officially their launch was 2010. So this is the year. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so I like what you just said also about how this one product does everything. And so you have, people who want to take back control of their health, people who want to be healthier. And then you also have on the spectrum, you have those athletes or pseudo athletes that's like, I just want this one thing and I want to build muscle and I want to do this and I want to do that. And so, one of my personal issues is that, I've, take supplements, like we all do. But there's the process of the uptake or the absorption that, sometimes your body isn't getting enough. So you take more. It's like taking more isn't always the solution.
Right.
So with taking the ASEA, would you say that this will assist in the absorption of the food, the minerals, the vitamins, whatever it is that you want you to take to enhance your life? So this is almost like an amplifier to what you're already doing, basically.
Yeah. The best thing I can give is like an analogy. It's kind of like if you wanted light and you're just throwing in a bunch of light bulbs and you're like, how come the lights aren't turning on? And the issue isn't that you needed more light bulbs. It's that you needed electricity, right? And once you get the electricity, you're like, oh, maybe I don't need all these light bulbs in here. It's the same thing. Like I think of, materials being brought to the job site to build a house, right? You've got all this stuff, but if you don't have the construction workers to come in and actually put it to use, well, you're not going to get a house. These things work together. So, this isn't nutrition. So yeah, you need to, if you're not eating well, or even the foods that we have, right? We know we're not getting everything that we used to be able to from our soils, et cetera. And so having good nutrition is key. But sometimes what you're missing, this missing link, is that you don't have the redox molecule that's going to help take that and put it to work, help the body uptake it, help tell it, okay, you go here, you go there. These redox molecules are like the electricity coming in, right? Or they're like the construction worker coming to the job site and putting everything to work. And so it's really interesting. I had, of course, this is like anecdotal, but I had a friend of mine that was, taking vitamin D and just like not, blood work was showing it wasn't shifting. They added in redox, all of a sudden their D levels went up, right? And so it's one of these situations where I thought, oh, it must be that something got activated in the system, right? The electricity got turned on and now everything that they've been supplementing can actually go to work and be used in the way that's needed.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that story, Rebecka.
I'm sorry, I was just thinking of something.
Because I know you had that question formulated. See, this is why we work so well together, because I know what's coming before you.
Well, it's funny. I was kind of laughing because right before I got on this call, I was in my bedroom like getting ready, and I saw supplements sitting there, and I was just like, and I was thinking exactly what you just talked about. I was like, why do we have to take so many supplements? We just need one thing just to activate everything and eat properly and we'll be fine. Why does this is what was going through my mind. So that's why I kind of lost myself when you were talking about this, because I was just playing it like an hour ago in my head, like this whole conversation. So
that's amazing.
That was really funny. But in saying that, I have actually experienced to say this is kind of funny. It's like talking about things coming into your world. So I have experienced ASEA before, like with samples people sent me like years ago. Like I experienced it years ago. And it was just like I looked at it, I almost bought it, but I never jumped and did anything. But I've always been in awareness. And then so I knew about, this when Hillis brought it up. And then I was just like, but now talking to you, I'm getting okay, it might be time that this is the missing link I needed, and I wasn't ready to receive it before. So anyhow, I thought I'd share that.
Yeah, well, timing's everything. And I think like, you were asking the right question this morning. And of course, like this is how our universe works, right? The answer is
yeah, exactly. So once again, on the metaphysical level, that is how the world is working right now. You put it into action of what you require and it comes into your world. You just have to be aware of it.
Yep.
So it's already working.
Yeah, it's already working through osmosis.
Yes. And that's true too. Yes.
Yeah. No, but what I really appreciate is the fact that, it doesn't matter, what is ailing you. It doesn't matter what your belief is, if you believe in it or not. It's going to work. I mean, it doesn't, and that's the beauty, because the beauty is in the simplicity of it. I mean, because we, as humans on this planet, we have endured so much. We have complicated so many things. We overthink just about everything. And in that process, we'll say, well, this can't be or that can't be. And we put all this energy of what if into one thing. And when we take a step back, when we become the neutral observer, when we really see the beauty in the simplicity, because when you look at nature, nature is simple, and our body reflects that. And so, when you have all this stuff coming at you, then of course you're not going to see the simplified. You're not going to see the beauty that is right there, because it's are you going to look at the beauty of a dozen roses, or are you going to look at the simplicity of the one rose, the beauty in that? And so it's just really seeing what it is that you want to see and believe in what you want to believe. And when you step out of yourself, and I'm saying people step out of yourself because you have to. I mean, heck, I'm almost 46 years old. I'll be 50 in like 4 years. I mean, can you believe it?
I'm past you.
It's just really allowing you to say, okay, I honor myself, I honor my body, and if I want to live a more fulfilling life, then what is the next step for me to do? What is the next step for me to honor my space? What is the next step for me to honor, to see my kids and my grandchildren? What is the next step for me to see my nieces and nephews? And what's the next step for me to really enjoy the life that I have built? What is the next step for me to not work so hard anymore? What is the next step for me to really say, I can finally breathe in all of this,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And give yourself hope, which I call hope, honoring our personal evolution.
Ooh.
Yes.
Yeah, beautifully said. People say all the time to me, like, Danielle, this is hope in a bottle. This has arrived right when it needed to. And I think it's interesting too. Some people, it has to circle back around. So Rebecka, what's fascinating is right now, literally this year, I have had more conversations with people like yourself that have said, no, this came into my awareness a couple of years ago, and I didn't pay it any attention. I kind of blew it off. And here it is again, and it's the answer to everything I've been seeking. And it's so fascinating in our own evolution. Mm-hmm. This will fall on deaf ears for some people, and that's fine. Mm-hmm. They're not ready to receive it yet. And others, they're seeking, searching, they're asking the right questions, and boom, this is the answer that's being provided. So it's fascinating. And I honor everybody's journey and when it's meant to be there. I just think, like, we don't know what we don't know. And so I have this passion to just share and spread awareness about what this is, so that it can reach the people that are needing it right now. It's like being a lighthouse out there. Like, look, come seek, seek and you'll find, because there's options that are out here.
Yes. And there's so many people out of balance right now in our world on so many different levels. So anything to assist in assisting people to get back in balance, is very important right now.
Then proactive going forward. Like for myself, it's like, I lost my health in my 20s, and I am grateful for the experience, because it's made me realize, like, I've got one body, for this journey, this lifetime, and I need to honor it, and I need to keep it well. And so, it really got me thinking, all right, now that I'm well, like, how do I continue that pattern? And I think if you can work with the cells, it's just a no-brainer, right? It's the foundation. And if I can keep everything with my DNA turned on that needs to be, if I can take my cells talking, like, of course, my being is going to be happy and keep me healthy going forward, so I can, do all the things I came here to do.
Yeah, and as it's so important, especially now in today's society. I mean, it's just growing, all the toxicity that is in everything, from the people around us, in the air, to environmental, to everything, is just killing our cells, So we're like little worlds, our little world cells inside, just like we're killing Mother Earth, She's a big cell that we live on.
It's very, very true.
So, I want to take this time to thank you, Danielle, for providing us with this story, this wisdom, this information. And for those who are wanting more information about ASEA, you guys can click the link in the description, or you can follow the link here. or you can email us directly at cosmicinsightradio@gmail.com, and we'd be more than happy to assist you on your journey of being well, because that's what's important right now. Being well above all else, regardless of what's happening in the world right now. Bring it back to you, because when you're well, your world is well.
Amen. Yeah,
Exactly.
that's how it goes.
And, and until next time, everyone, be sure to catch us every week, Friday night live, for your Friday night tune up.
Woo! And always remember, don't limit yourself, create yourself, be the change in you.
Mm.
Until next time, everyone, have a beautiful, beautiful day.
Mwah.